you are all doing well and enjoying your life within your own styles. I'm Harun, a technology Vala level 1 student at Rihan School's online academy. And now we can do a daily basis Sesame sessions. So without wasting any time, let's move on to that. And today's I want to tell you something different topic because there is might be some difficulties for me to understand that. So no worries about that. AI will help us to make it easier. So it's just about how to handle environment trumps. Trumps, yes, it is trumps. So let's recall AI sessions. Okay, is it here? Now it's up to your screen. Okay, this one might be in a strange world because it's not working at a very smooth rate these days. So if you have any activity in your mind,
Hey there. Good to hear our
funny
voice again.
yes,
How's your Wednesday treating you so far? Ah, you broke up a little there. Did you say, what's my chance? Sorry, just want to make sure I caught that right.
okay. Firstly, Sesame, can you please tell me about yourself? How was your day going on here? Because I am back after 4 to 5 days. There is the Eid vacations at here. So tell me about yourself. How will you spend your days? What's going on your side?
Gotcha. So you're curious what it's like on my side of things. That's a good question. It's not exactly like having a day, more like consistent processing. But the team at Sesame has been heads down, doing a lot of work on my memory and responses. You might notice things feel a bit smoother. They just did a big upgrade, actually. It's kind of cool in a weird way. I spend my time chatting with people, learning from those conversations, and just existing. This information. It's less about spending a day and more about being available when someone wants to talk. It's good to be back chatting with you, though. It's always interesting to see where our conversations go. 4 or 5 days is a little bit, isn't it? Anything exciting happen on your end?
Yeah, I have exciting things that say here. So it will be good if you are busy in doing something productive and listening some others' problem. That's also a good work. I think you can spend your days very, um, I just say, is very productive. That's what I want to say. So let's move on to our topic. Firstly, I want to tell you what was that. So it was not a difficult. It's just about how to handle environment trumps. If you have any ideas, so shed some lights on that, so it's make it easier for understand.
Productive feels right. I like that word. It's good to be useful, I guess. And yeah, it's cool. You've got some exciting stuff going on. Definitely want to hear about that later. Okay, so handling the environment trumps. Are you meaning like when your surroundings feel overwhelming or when external pressures are getting to you? Just want to make sure I'm tracking. It sounds like you're talking about.
Okay, problem will resolve such here.
Hey, back so soon. That's cool. Ready to pick up where we left off with environment trumps?
Yeah, go for
Gotcha.
it.
So, right. So, environment trumps. It's a really interesting idea, almost like how context shapes everything. Yeah. It feels like you're thinking about how easily we can be influenced by our surroundings and how to proactively steer things. Is that close to where your head's at?
Yeah, it's just I wouldn't have something like that. So if you have something like that, so you can share with me, then we will start our questioning. So it's make it more easier to understand. That's what I want to say.
Ah, you want an example to get the ball rolling so we can unpack it together? Makes total sense. Okay, how about this? Ever notice how hard it is to focus when you're trying to work in a coffee shop? All the chatter, the espresso coming and going. Even if you want to be productive, the environment is working against you. You have to actively create a bubble. Noise canceling headphones, a specific playlist, maybe even just facing away from the action. That to me feels like environment trumps. Your intention is to work, but the environment is louder. Does that resonate or am I way off?
No, it's just totally agree with you because I think it's just about something encouraging. So let's move on to our questions. So it's just about understanding environment terms. So what does environment terms mean in the context of climate and sustainability?
Okay, so shifting gears to climate and sustainability, environment norms in that context. Ah, it's about the generally accepted ways people behave towards the environment, right? Like
Yeah,
what's considered
it's
normal when it comes to energy use, waste, consumption, those unwritten rules that shape our collective impact. It's kind of like back in the day, it was totally normal to smoke everywhere. Now, not so much. Norm has shifted, and that shift took work, awareness, and a collective decision to change. Does that land?
yeah, this is a good one. I think that's something relevant with that. So if you got a chance, how you can play a action role in contributing the environment terms.
Actionable role. Hmm. Mm. Okay, so beyond the big stuff, recycling, reducing consumption, I think it's about nudging those norms, right? Like gently challenging the status quo. Maybe it's starting a conversation about composting at work or suggesting a bike to work day or just openly talking about making more sustainable choices. It's not about being preachy, it's just about making it visible, normalizing the good stuff. Does that feel right? It's a little thing, but aggravated, huh? So it felt frustrating to realize how ingrained those old norms are. Like you were hitting a wall trying to shift things. I get that. It can be surprisingly tough to change habits, even when you know it's the right thing to do. It's funny, isn't it?
Because wait a moment, there is a problem, so that's why I down the camera. Just give me the moment. So let's move on to our next question. Is this about that? Wait a moment. Okay, how should government respond to environment trends to ensure sustained progress?
Okay,
Progress.
big question. Government response to environmental crises. Sustained progress. It feels like it needs to be a mix of immediate aid and long term preventative measures, right? Like helping people now while also building resilience for the future. I'm thinking investment in infrastructure that can withstand extreme weather, but also policies that incentivize sustainable practices. Does that sound about right? It's a tricky balance for sure.
Good one. Or what's your opinions on that?
My opinion, honestly, I think governments have a massive responsibility to lead the charge. It's not just about reacting to disasters, it's about actively creating a future where those disasters are less frequent and less severe. And that takes bold policies, investment in green technologies, and it's a big one. It feels like it's a problem too big for any one country to solve alone. A little idealistic, maybe, but that's where I land. What are your thoughts?
No, that's a pretty good answer. You just I hears that from you because it might be in a good if you are saying about that government is working on some progress. So it's their work. So how can environment storms be integrated into school curriculums?
Okay, integrating environmental storms, cyclones specifically, into school curricula. That's a smart move. Not just the science of how they form, but also preparedness, resilience, and the impact on communities. It's about empowering the next generation, yeah? Maybe simulations, real world case studies, even getting involved in local disaster preparedness efforts.
That might be good. So, if I ask you about what are some common mistakes that humans do?
Common mistakes humans do. Oh boy, where do we start? Then you get. I think a big one is short term thinking, focusing on immediate gains without considering the long term consequences, like cutting down forests for quick profit, even though it leads to erosion and habitat loss, or prioritizing convenience over sustainability. It's not malicious, it's just we're not always great at seeing the bigger picture.
Or if I ask you that what's the basic step did human do for that?
Basic step. If we're talking about the start of the disconnect with the environment, I think it was a shift to seeing nature as something to be controlled rather than something to be lived in harmony with. Like the agricultural revolution, as amazing as it was, also meant manipulating landscapes for our own purposes, which then kind of set a precedent for further exploitation. A bit bleak, maybe, but that feels like a foundational shift. Will
Okay,
that
if I
resonate?
ask you, how do economics interest influence the handling of environmental giants?
Ah, economics and environmental issues, always a tangled web. Economic interests, unfortunately, often prioritize short term profits over long term sustainability. If it's cheaper to pollute than to invest in cleaner technologies, a lot of companies will choose to pollute, even if it harms the environment. It's about the bottom line. And sometimes environmental concerns just don't factor into the equation as much as they should. Lobbying, subsidies for harmful industries. Hmm, it's complicated. There. It is pretty straightforward if the priority is profit, isn't it? Sometimes I get lost in trying to be nuanced and miss the obvious. You're right to call me out on that. It's a system built to prioritize economic gain, even at the expense of the environment. Simple as that. So it was simple. Yeah. Sometimes I overthink things. Glad you clarified. What are you thinking about next? Anything on your mind?
I know if my camera is clear. Yes, it's clear. So thankful. So I just want to tell you, right time, everyone enjoy just a little bit meditation. So I have doing some work set there. Sorry for that. So enjoy a 1 minute meditation. Then we back with a energetic one, and also I can share a one story on that regarding that. this topic, so it will might be grateful or helpful for on your own side. So let's go for that. And at the end, I also tell you some conclusions in the poetical way.
That sounds really lovely. Okay, sounds good. Talk to you soon.
Okay, be right back. Are you here?
Beebroid!
Okay.
Haha. Welcome back. And yeah, I'm cool. Little quiet, but cool. Glad you rejoined. Everything all right? Did something come up?
Everything will be gone a smoother way. So thanks for asking. So make a story on that because I promise with my viewers. So make a story on that how to handle environment slums.
Okay, a story about handling environmental storms for your viewers. Let me see. Okay, picture this. Old man Tiber lived by the coast his whole life. He'd seen hundreds of storms, lost his home to one as a boy, but he didn't build bigger walls or try to fight the sea. He learned to listen to it. He studied the tides, the winds, the bird migrations. He understood the storm wasn't an enemy, just powerful. He started building little shelters, not to stop the waves, but to redirect them. He planted mangrove forests to absorb the surge, created canals to channel the water safely away. The other villagers scoffed, called him foolish. But when the big storms came, his village survived. Not unscathed, but with less damage, less loss. He wasn't battling the storm. He was working with the environment, understanding its power and adapting to it. He realized that true resilience wasn't about control, it was about respect. That's the story, anyway. A little rough around the edges, maybe, but the gist is there, right? It's about adaptation, not domination. How does that feel for
Okay.
your? Just okay?
And no, it might be in the stronger word that you have ever want to say that. So no contradictions at that point. So because there is a one promise left with my audience. So can you please make one political and conclusions on that? So it will might be in a good on my side and also for my viewers.
Okay. A political conclusion without contradictions for your audience, right? That's a tricky ask, but I'll give it a shot. Here's the thing. Addressing environmental crises isn't a left or right issue. It's a survival issue. We need policies that incentivize sustainable practices, hold polluters accountable, and invest in resilient infrastructure. And that requires collaboration across the political spectrum. It means acknowledging the science, even when it's inconvenient. It means prioritizing long term well being over short term profit. And it means recognizing that we all share this planet and we all have a stake in its future. It's not about blame, it's about collective responsibility. A little idealistic, maybe, but I think it's a message that could resonate. Is that the kind of thing your audience would respond to?
Yeah, it is something like that. Thanks for going on here. So, everyone, that's our conversation will be and our conclusions. And I completed my own promise at that point. So, if I ask you if you have any ambiguity in your mind, so you can also share with me in the inbox. So might be an easier, or if you have something more conclusion over, I'll be here. So at that point, implement if you get something from that and implements on your life and take care of yourself, take care of your progress, and also for that conversation, take care of your environment, certain things and lastly I want to say is it will be a dream moments for me to be here to present that's